So recently, we got the news that Rhythm Heaven Groove is selling really well. In Japan, it sold nearly 400,000 copies in the first week for physical sales alone. For comparison, this is double the sales of the second largest launch with DS, which is also the best-selling game in the series. It also sold only a little less than Tomodachi Life's 565,000, and that game ended up being a huge success, at least from what we know so far. I think this game is definitely on track to sell around 2.5 to 3 million copies, and could easily outsell DS in lifetime sales. But I feel like Rhythm Heaven Groove is doing well for multiple reasons. For one, it's a lot cheaper than the standard price for games nowadays. Most Nintendo published games are between $60 and $70, so one priced at $40 is a great deal. I know there are a lot of notable games out there that are cheaper, like Silksong or Deltarune, but I think $40 is still absolutely fair for what they're offering here. Rhythm Heaven Groove still has a ton of content, and it's very replayable. It's also on the Switch 1, which allows for a much larger audience to play this game. And it just makes sense that a game like this is on the Switch 1 as well, because it's not a very graphically intensive game. It also strikes the perfect balance between casual and hardcore gamers. It's a game that practically anyone can play, as it isn't too hard to get into. It's also accessible to people who are blind or visually impaired. And it also offers a ton of challenge in difficult modes to people who are familiar with this series or want a challenging rhythm game. So it's really a game that is easy to get into, but hard to master. And finally, we've been seeing a resurgence in popularity of rhythm games lately. We've been seeing new games like Rhythm Doctor and Bits and Bops released to a lot of praise, and existing games like Osu, Parappa the Rapper, Patapon, and of course Rhythm Heaven itself have been more relevant recently. And another thing, I did mention that these sales were for Japan, and we don't necessarily know how the game is doing in the West, but I do think it still will be decently popular in the West. It did still make the top 5 in the weekly sales for both the UK and France, and we've seen that Rhythm Heaven has a dedicated cult following in the West. There have been many fan projects, like Heaven Studio, Rhythm Heaven Remix Editor, a fan translation of Rhythm Tengoku, and tons of custom remixes based on popular songs on YouTube. So I think this game has a decent amount of influence in the West. I'm thinking that it will probably have similar sales between Japan and the rest of the world, kind of similar to Pikmin 4 and Kirby Air Riders, selling around 1.5 to 2 million between each region, like Japan and then the West. But with all of this news, I think there's definitely a lot of potential for the future of this series. Within the next year or two, I could definitely see a Switch 2 update or edition happening. Even though it's a fairly simple game graphically, they could always do things such as tweaking the visuals to work at 120 FPS and bumping up the resolution to 4K. They can even add an extra bit of content if it's a Switch 2 edition, like rhythm games that utilize the mouse mode, or incorporating the camera in some ways, like maybe a funny mode where you can superimpose your face onto one of the characters in the game. And in a few years from now, probably around 2029 to 2030-ish, I could possibly see a new game happening. I think they might do something slightly different thematically, while keeping the core style and identity of the series. Like personally, I'd love to see a game that's themed around geography and culture that covers styles of music from different countries. Groove already taps into this with the vocal songs being in different languages for some of them, but I'd love to see this idea expanded upon. It seems like there's a lot of passion and creativity behind the team in this game, as well as Sunku and Ko Takeuchi, so I'd love to see them continue this series, even if it feels like Groove is the absolute peak of what they can do. So overall, I'm very happy with how Groove is selling so far, because I'd have to say, after playing through most of this game, it's officially my game of the year now, and if you haven't played it yet, I highly recommend getting into it. Don't be intimidated by the challenge. This game is a game that you'll get used to over time, and it's satisfying once you get the hang of it. So anyways, Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Blue Sky if you want to. Stay perky, and remember, Rhythm Heaven Groove for Game of the Year!